President Alexander Stubb congratulates Donald Trump after U.S. election victory. Trump may influence NATO and the EU, Finland must be prepared for volatility. Major fire at rare Maro waste treatment plant in Tampere rare. Finnish economy forecasted to decline, IMF warns. President Alexander Stubb congratulated Donald Trump, the Republican candidate, on winning the U.S. presidential election. Speaking to the Finnish media at the residence in Mondi, Helsinki, Stubb asserted, "American democracy has spoken, and the result is clear." Stubb hopes Trump will promote a model of peace that respects Ukraine's sovereignty and self-determination, currently under attack from Russia. Stubb also predicted that Trump would soon meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and Russian President Vladimir Putin, marking a new phase in peace negotiations. Additionally, Stubb emphasized that Finland is ready to cooperate with the new U.S. administration, affirming the lasting partnership between the two countries. He forecasted that European nations would need to increase defense spending to address the shifting security situation. He also noted the changing priorities of Western voters, with practical issues such as employment and housing becoming central. Finally, Stubb stated that Finland will work closely with the U.S., regardless of who is president, and expressed no concern about the U.S. retreating from Europe or reducing its role in NATO. Donald Trump's return as U.S. president may impact Finland's security through several key aspects. First, Trump's "America First" policy could negatively affect NATO and the EU, organizations Finland relies on to maintain regional security. The unpredictability of Trump's foreign policy requires Finland to always be prepared for unexpected changes. Finland currently has a Defense Cooperation Agreement (DCA) with the U.S., allowing for quick deployment of troops and equipment if a threat from Russia arises. Finland has also purchased F-35 fighter jets from the U.S. to strengthen bilateral defense relations. However, Trump might reduce support for Ukraine, forcing Finland and Europe to step up military and financial aid for Ukraine. Finally, Finland expects Trump will call on European countries to increase defense costs, which could significantly raise Finland's military budget in the coming years. The fence of the Finnish Embassy in Moscow was vandalized with paint and eggs last Friday, with the Swedish phrase, "O land is ours," written on it. Russian police promptly intervened and arrested 5 men involved. However, the nationality of the individuals has not been confirmed. Following the incident, Finland sent a diplomatic note to Russia to protest the action. Ambassador Maria Levarlar stated that sending the note was standard procedure in similar cases and confirmed that no criminal charges had been filed. The writing on the fence also included the symbol, SD, hinting at the Swedish Democrats, but representatives of the party denied any involvement. Finnish police recently thwarted an armed attack planned in the city of Tampere rare. A criminal group from Sweden had plotted the attack targeting a Bandidos gang base and the residence of one of its members. The attack was expected to involve machine guns and explosives, aiming at Bandidos members in Finland. The incident was uncovered during an investigation related to drug trafficking activities. Finnish police reported seizing several weapons, including machine guns and 9 kilograms of explosives. 4 suspects have been arrested, and the case is being handed over to the prosecution for possible charges. Former Finnish government advisor Olli Sorainen, who previously worked at the Ministry of Employment and the Economy, has been sentenced on charges of bribery and breach of official duty. Sorainen received a suspended 1-year sentence for borrowing a violin from a businessman in the wild berry industry, who had earlier been accused of human trafficking. Sorainen expressed regret for accepting the violin but disagreed with the sentence and will appeal. He also denied any wrongdoing and claimed the sentence was too harsh. Sorainen had earlier requested funding from the businessman Zucar Christo's company to support a talented family member in music. However, the borrowed violin later led to his bribery conviction. Sorainen commented that his case is a rare example and hopes that anti-corruption policies will be strengthened to prevent similar incidents in the future. The baby bonus proposal to encourage people under 30 to have children received mixed responses in a survey of Finnish parliament members. Of the 105 MPs who responded, 62 opposed, 31 supported, and 12 had no opinion on the proposal. Anna Rotkirch, research director at the Population Institute, proposed the plan to address Finland's declining birth rate. The proposal suggests that families who have their first child before age 30 would receive financial support of €10,000 to €30,000 in the form of tax exemptions, loan interest reductions, or pension insurance discounts. Most of the support came from the Finnish Party and Christian Democrats, while the National Coalition Party and other opposition parties opposed it. MP Sara Waierarko from the Green Party described the proposal as a bit scary, and recommended removing barriers to help people realize their desire to have children instead of adding pressure. Finland is actively proposing a military base to allow NATO to deploy large reconnaissance drones. Currently, these drones are stationed at Sigonella Base in Italy, conducting flights across NATO airspace, including Finland's airspace, to gather intelligence at the eastern border. NATO is in the early stages of planning to expand the surveillance operations in Northern Europe, and a base here would fully support the organization's strategic needs. Although there is competition from other NATO countries, Finland has proposed several locations, with Pirkanmaa possibly being the top choice. These drones have a wingspan of nearly 40 meters and can fly at altitudes up to 18 kilometers, ensuring effective surveillance over a large area. If approved, the base will employ several dozen to a few hundred personnel depending on NATO's requirements. On November 5, a massive fire broke out at Remeo's waste treatment plant in Rusko, Tampere. The fire ignited in a pile of energy waste, creating a thick black smoke that blanketed the area. Firefighting efforts have now entered their third day due to the challenging nature of the burning waste and the need to clear the pile for firefighting water to reach the flames. Around 30 firefighting units and 50 personnel have been mobilized, using Finavia's foam system to prevent the fire from spreading further. The Pirkanmaa Center conducted an inspection after the fire and found Remeo in serious violation of its environmental permit, with waste storage exceeding permitted limits. The company has previously received warnings from Ely about waste storage issues and has been ordered to stop receiving more waste and submit weekly reports on storage conditions. However, this fire is the third recent incident, prompting nearby residents to keep windows closed and ventilation systems off to avoid inhaling toxic smoke. Favorable weather and wind direction have prevented smoke from spreading to nearby residential areas, but the warning remains in place due to health risks. Ely is considering terminating Remeo's operations at this location, while firefighting efforts are expected to continue until the weekend. On the afternoon of November 4, an explosion occurred at Mondi Powerflute's cardboard manufacturing plant in Sorainen Industrial Park, Kuopio, Finland, causing a serious incident. The explosion happened when pressure in a pulp storage tank suddenly increased, causing the tank lid to fly off and hit the roof of the factory. This incident caused the roof to collapse over an area of about 600 square meters. According to Antti Korhonen, fire chief of the North Savo Fire Department, fortunately, no employees were injured as no one was present under the collapsed area when the incident occurred. Immediately after receiving the report, the fire department inspected the site and handed it back to the factory for self-remediation. Mondi Powerflute has temporarily suspended operations to ensure safety. Factory director Zuhar Kukar stated that their team is investigating the cause and assessing the damage, while also committing to resuming production as soon as possible. The Finnish government is ramping up efforts to return undocumented migrants to their countries of origin, an initiative receiving particular attention from the governments of Iraq and Somalia. Under the government's plan, these individuals will be encouraged to return voluntarily or be required to do so. Tuula Svenhoved, a longtime migration specialist at Finland's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, has been appointed to oversee repatriation efforts. She will work closely with EU countries to develop a shared repatriation system and expedite negotiations with countries that refuse to accept repatriated citizens. Previously, the number of undocumented individuals required to leave Finland, mainly from Iraq and Somalia, has been growing rapidly. In this context, the EU is also increasing measures to support reintegration to ensure that returnees can adapt to their new lives back home. Social organizations in Finland have warned that cuts to social welfare are causing severe eviction and food scarcity issues. According to a survey by Talentia, the Finnish Church Council, and SOSTER, these cuts have heightened anxiety among low-income individuals and threatened their well-being. Reductions in housing and unemployment benefits have left many struggling, facing eviction or forced relocation. Social workers and charitable organizations report a rising demand for assistance, but they lack the resources to meet it. The condition of children, in particular, is a major concern. Satu Maria Virar Tarnen, a resident of Zubaskailer, shared that she can no longer hire personal support due to the cuts. Meanwhile, others are forced to choose between food and medicine. Experts warn that if the government continues these cuts next year, the situation could worsen, driving more people into prolonged poverty, reminiscent of the economic crisis of the 1990s. The Finnish government's decision to remove unemployment benefit protection has hit volunteer rescue workers hard, especially in sparsely populated areas like Lapland. With over 14,300 contract rescue workers, including about 500 unemployed, many are now refusing rescue work for fear of losing their benefits. Previously, unemployed workers could earn an additional €300 per month without affecting their unemployment benefits. However, under the new regulation, any income will now reduce these benefits. Termulep Parlar, a rescue worker in Inari, argues that cutting this protection is unacceptable. This leaves areas like Lapland at risk of a rescue manpower shortage, with potentially serious consequences during emergencies. A report from the Natural Resources Institute Finland states that restaurants in the Finnish capital region waste up to 18.5 million kilograms of food each year, equivalent to 37 million meals. Most of this waste comes from leftover food on serving tables, including some dishes that could be reused. Additionally, a significant amount is wasted from uneaten plate portions and from overpreparation or errors in the cooking process. The Food Waste Ecosystem Project, led by the city of Vantaa, is working to find practical ways to reduce this waste. Some restaurants, such as the Soupster family chain, have adjusted their cooking processes to smaller, staggered batches to avoid excess. Moreover, restaurants are encouraging customers to reduce plate waste by taking only what they need and returning for more if desired. Finland's economy is struggling, ranking 10th among the countries with the lowest GDP growth worldwide in 2024, according to the International Monetary Fund (IMF). IMF projections indicate that Finland's GDP will shrink by 0.3%, one of the few countries expected to have negative growth. The main causes are losses in trade with Russia following the Ukraine conflict and a downturn in the construction sector. The IMF recommends that Finland adopt budget tightening measures and structural reforms to revive the economy. While EU countries are forecasted to have an average GDP growth of 1.1%, Finland is facing a decline. Additional government measures, such as increased investment, support for education, and research, are deemed necessary to promote growth in the near future. Many Finnish companies have started requiring employees to return to the office after an extended period of remote work. Recently, the telecommunications company Elisa announced that employees must be present in the office at least 3 days a week. This decision has stirred controversy as some employees, accustomed to the flexibility of remote work, expressed disappointment. Similarly, the University of Varsar's new policy now limits remote work to only 1 day per week, citing overly flexible remote work rules, with some employees even wanting to work remotely while driving or boating. Research by the company JLL shows that 80% of Finnish organizations have implemented policies requiring employees to be in the office at least 3 days a week. However, while management prefers an average of 3.6 days per week in the office, employees only wish to go to the office 1.7 days. JLL representatives suggest that this discrepancy highlights the need for adjustments to meet both leadership expectations and employees' need for flexibility. The shutdown of the 3G network in Finland has caused challenges with mobile connectivity, especially for rural residents. While high-speed 4G and 5G networks are available to most, many users report connectivity issues, particularly in sparsely populated regions like eastern and northern Finland. The connectivity issues not only affect daily life but also impact digital services, such as remote healthcare. Local governments, such as South Savo and other regions, have sent letters of concern to the Ministry of Transport. While network operators are improving infrastructure, many feel the new system isn't yet stable, causing disruptions for users in remote areas. Battery technology for electric vehicles is advancing with a new type of battery capable of delivering up to 1,000 kilometers of range per charge. This new battery is less dependent on rare earth metals and cobalt, reducing environmental impact and reliance on scarce resources. In Finland, scientists are developing batteries using environmentally friendly materials such as wood, utilizing byproducts from the paper industry to produce sodium ion, a cheaper and more environmentally friendly battery option. Mass production of these batteries is expected in the early 2030s, meeting energy storage demands in the renewable energy sector and helping to achieve climate goals. Schools in Finland are increasingly concerned about the work skills of teenagers, particularly as they begin experiencing work environments through internships. Timo Pulkkinen, a career guidance teacher at Karkori School, notes that students need to learn basic skills like punctuality, following instructions, and turning off their phones while working. He also observes that many students lack communication skills, even struggling with calling unfamiliar people. Meanwhile, finding internship placements has become more challenging, particularly in urban areas. Mikar Parasonen, a career guidance teacher at Herertoniemi School, emphasizes the importance of teaching students how to write resumes and behave in interviews. As the work environment rapidly evolves, many question whether traditional skills remain relevant to today's practical needs. Noramo Secondary School in Finland has twice hired security to ensure safety after incidents of fights and violence among students. The presence of security has significantly improved the situation, with students feeling more secure. Student council leaders, Larevi Niemi and Vaker Mukarlar, noted that violence has visibly decreased. Previously, light punishments, such as writing exercises, had little impact, but now stricter discipline measures have helped curb disruptive behavior. Other students, such as Kaislar Suhonen and Evelina Rantra, shared that, while there are isolated cases, most students are conscientious. However, the lack of space at the school remains an issue, as the large student population is accommodated in outdated facilities from the 1970s. The school is considering expansion to meet growing demands in the future. Pharmaceutical companies in Finland are facing criticism for not promptly notifying about drug shortages, despite being legally required to do so. According to pharmacies, hundreds of drug shortage cases went unreported on time in recent months, causing inconvenience for patients and doctors. These lapses can lead doctors to prescribe medications that patients cannot immediately access, necessitating adjustments to prescriptions. The pharmaceutical regulatory body, Remeo, acknowledges that notification shortcomings cause significant inconvenience, emphasizing the need for enhanced oversight at both the national and EU levels to improve the situation. While pharmaceutical companies may be reluctant to disclose shortages for fear of losing market share, this has become a significant issue for the healthcare system and patients, particularly those with chronic conditions such as diabetes. Nokian Panamo recently announced a recall of a batch of gluten-free Kaiseri Talvi Lager 5.5% beer due to gluten levels exceeding safety limits during testing. The batch of 30,000 to 40,000 cans has been distributed to stores and may have been sold. While it poses no risk for non-gluten allergic individuals, it could be harmful to celiac patients. The product has an expiration date of March 28, 2025, and EN code 6417348174227. The error is attributed to a production mistake. The company stated they will destroy the recalled products under customs supervision to reclaim excise tax. This is the first recall of its kind in the brewery's history.